Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this regular board meeting of Goose Creek Board of Trustees to order. The time is approximately 7:12 p.m. Where's Mr. Sampson? Mr. Sampson, is this meeting properly posted?
Yes, it will.
And do we have it for?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. We will turn the program over for opening exercises to Ms. Jackson.
Okay, good evening, President Clem and Dr. Brown and board members. Tonight's opening exercises will be presented by our valedictorians, but we will begin our ceremony with a prayer led by you, Richard Clem. Will everyone please rise?
Please bow your head and join me in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this time we can be together as a community to make great decisions about the education of our students in Goose Creek. I want to thank you for these top 10 students that we recognized earlier tonight. What a blessing they are to their families and to this board and this school district. Ask that you guide them and lead them throughout their life. Please give safe travel to everyone who is here to their homes tonight. We ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
The Pledge of Allegiance to the Texas flag will be led by Hirsch Aguilar, Sydney Joe Dado, Corina Rose Levy, and Cassie Paige Rogers. Okay, our first recognition for this evening is Kim Fox, which will be presenting the College Board National Recognition.
Not yet.
Good evening. I'm Kim Fox, Director of Counseling and College and Career Readiness.
I'm Anna Espinoza, Coordinator for Counseling and College and Career Readiness.
It is our pleasure to recognize, again, some more students tonight. We're so happy to be here for the top 10. But as far as the College Board recognitions, I'd like to give you a little piece of information. The Recognition Program Award goes to lots of students in the state of Texas and around the country. The 4 national recognition programs include National African American Recognition, National Hispanic Recognition, and National Rural and Small Town Recognition programs. Students who take eligible administrations of tests like PSAT, AP exams are considered for these awards. Students must also identify as Black, African American, Latino, Hispanic, or attend a high school in a rural or small town. So tonight we have awards that we'd like to share with you. So first, and I will read your names, come up the stairs, and Carrie will take a picture if you already have your plaque if I call your name. So first from Impact Early College High School, we have Adriana Curiel. I also believe that some of our people got lost with eating their food after the top 10 recognition. So we also have Devani Gomez Sanchez. Thank you, congratulations. Also, National Hispanic Recognition for Diego Moreno. Thank you. Next, from Goose Creek Memorial, we have National Rural and Small Town Awards, Aaron Sue. Also from GCM, we have Jasmine Grimes. Next, he had to leave early, but Coy Nguyen also recognized. Next from GCM is Swayam Gupta.
From Robert E. Lee High School, the National Hispanic Recognition Award, Paulina Rios. Perla Razzo. And Pilar Thomas. And then from Ross Sterling High School, the National Hispanic Recognition Award, we have Alexandria Rodriguez. Brianna Munguia. Melissa Rodriguez. And Soraya Montemayor. Okay, y'all stay right there. So the next one's pretty exciting too, and I love packaging these recognitions right after top 10 because then you get to see these kids in all their glory continuing to get other recognitions nationally outside of Goose Creek. So the next one is National Merit. National Merit Scholarship is one of the most prestigious scholarship programs. Every year, over 1 million juniors enter the competition for National Merit Scholars. Each semi-finalist submits a detailed scholarship, which includes essays and information about achievements, awards, and leadership positions. There's a whole list of things that happen after that with semi-finalists and finalists and on and on and on for who is rising to the top. And guess what? Fewer than 1% of the initial pool of student entrants based on the statistics from National Merit actually succeed. And we have a National Merit Scholar we'd like to honor tonight. From Goose Creek Memorial High School, Aaron Sue.
Thank you so much, and that concludes the recognitions.
Okay, at this time, we'd like to ask Kendall David to come up and recognize our PR squad.
Good evening, President Clem, board members, Dr. O'Brien. Tonight we are excited to honor a very special group of students, our district PR squad. First, I want to honor our team that worked very closely with these students, Carrie Pryor-Newman, Mima Trujillo, and then of course our sponsor, coordinator of marketing, Brittany Culpepper. PR Squad is a team of student advocates who work in conjunction with our community engagement team. Each year, juniors and seniors from every campus apply and interview for this unique internship opportunity. Their primary role is to appeal to the student audience by sharing stories of success, celebration, and everyday moments. They help to curate the district posts that you see on social media. They provide input to guide our district's online communication in a way that will reach students and participate in podcasts and videos, just to name a few. Tonight, we are honoring PR Squad for their commitment to providing the district with a student voice. Whether it be through social media, podcasts, videos, these students have shown determination to reach our student audience and provide the community with a student perspective. So first off, from Goose Creek Memorial, Eileen Bilata. From Impact, Diego Moreno. Sydney Joy Dado. Kyla Heaton. Zitlali Ruiz. And Debbie Gomez Sanchez. And I'm happy to note that a lot of these kids are in the top 10 as well. From Arcadia High School, Ileana Ramirez. Our Sterling students, Zoe Guy and Nathan Melanson. And our Stuart Career Tech High School students who are also in the Digital Communications Academy, Umi Jewel De Los Santos and Gracie Rodriguez. Congratulations and thank you for working so hard this school year.
Now we'd like to ask Amanda Kennington to come up and recognize the Whole Child Wellness Award.
Mr. Reed, our SHAC parent chair, here with us tonight. We're very honored to recognize campuses for their school wellness committees for the key role that they play in advancing the health and well-being of students, staff, and families. You may be wondering, how can a campus earn the Whole Child Wellness Award? Well, an award application was shared with our campus administrators and the champion of the School Health Advisory Committee, which provides information on how schools can earn points for successfully completing some criteria in 10 different health focus areas. 14 campus committees submitted an application and they provided evidence of implementing the district wellness plan and the strategies. Key factors that contributed to their success of this award included support and commitment by their campus administrators, a school team that meets regularly, promotion and effective communication of school health initiatives and resources, participation in regular assessments of the implementation, which monitors their progress,
and engagement with family and community. The committees also earned bonus points for integrating health strategies into the school improvement action plan, providing evidence of professional growth, incorporating healthy fundraising options, and integrating sun safety practices into the school environment. The 2023 Whole Child Wellness Award is supported by Be Well Baytown. Be Well Baytown is an initiative of the University of Texas MD Anderson Cancer Center sponsored by ExxonMobil. Each gold level campus is going to receive $350 to use towards campus coordinated school health initiatives, and each platinum level campus that's honored tonight will receive $500 each for coordinated school health efforts. And at this time, we're going to recognize those committees. I just found out how much they're getting for their coordinated school health initiatives, so that's great. We're very honored to recognize these schools. Their committees are welcome to come up as we call their name to receive their award and take a picture. The following 5 campuses earned a gold level Whole Child Wellness Award. First off, we have Clark Elementary. Principal Kimberly Buck and Champion Joe McGrew. And the awards that they're receiving are a little bit different kind of plaque. We have some coordinated school health pictures from the school year in these picture plaques. So it just kind of recognizes all of the different activities that they've done as far as school health and wellness this year. Thank you. Congratulations. Our next campus that we're going to recognize is Benuelos Elementary. The principal and champion here is John Hackett. Representing Benuelos tonight is SSA Miss Pina. Congratulations. The next to receive a gold level award is Bowie Elementary. Principal Regina Patrickson and champion Lena Flowers. Congratulations. Our 4th campus that will receive a gold level Whole Child Wellness Award is Lamar Elementary. Principal Maria Rosas Gonzalez, and the champion at Lamar is Stephanie Massico. These committees are supported by administrators, teachers on campus, parents. They're just a corollary to our district school health advisory council, but on the campus level. So it takes a team effort. Thank y'all. Congratulations. And our 5th gold level Whole Child Wellness Award winner will be Travis Elementary. Principal Carrie Shalmanis and champion Angela Benson. Congratulations. She said she's a strawberry, so on her one of her pictures, she's a strawberry. recognizing those Go Foods. The following 5 campuses earned a platinum level Whole Child Wellness Award. This is the highest achievement for the Whole Child Wellness Award. First up is Alamo Elementary. Principal Leah Abbott, and the champion at Alamo is Carly Delino. Congratulations. Platinum level Whole Child Wellness Award winner, Highlands Elementary. And Principal Blanca Cavatillo, joined by champion Joel Coombs and committee. Congratulations. And next up, Humphrey Elementary. Principal Renee Meyer and champion Jennifer Starr. Platinum level, San Jacinto Elementary. Principal Luis Munoz and champion Kristen Reyes. And last but certainly not least, Harlem Elementary, earning the most points for the Whole Child Wellness Award. 31 points, Principal Betty Waka and champion Sherry Young. As they take their final picture, we thank all of you for supporting the mental, emotional, physical, intellectual, and social health of our little child. Congratulations.
Okay, at this time, Dr. Brown, I'm going to turn it over to you. I think you have some recognition yourself. Not to put you on the spot.
At this time, we would like to honor 2 outgoing board members. We have Ms. Jessica Woods and Mr. Shay Potter. Give them a round of applause for their
Ray, come on. Come on. Last picture of the honor board. We are now at the point of our agenda where we will recognize citizens' participation. Citizens' participation is the time that the board will hear public concerns or public comments from those who have properly signed up to address the board. At regular board meetings, the board shall permit public comment regardless of whether the topic is an item on the posted agenda, the notice of the meeting or not. Each speaker is reminded that he or she is limited in his or her presentation to a maximum of 3 minutes. Mr. Sampson will be our timer. And that he or she should respect the confidentiality concerns and refrain from attacking the personal character of any individual student, staff member, or board member in addressing concerns or comments. Pursuant to state law and board policy BE legal, the board cannot consider or take action on concerns at this meeting unless they pertain to an item on the posted agenda for this meeting. Any deliberation or decision on an item that is not posted for consideration at this meeting shall be limited to a proposal to place the subject on the agenda of a future meeting. We have one person signed up tonight, and I'll give the floor to Ken Costa.
Yes, sir. Good evening, President Clinton, members of the board, and Dr. O'Brien. So there are two really important topics on the agenda tonight, but I only have 3 minutes, so I will be discussing the anti-bullying committee. This committee was first approved by this district 4 years ago, and it took over 2 years in passing a law for the first meeting to actually take place. You may have heard the chatter or may have even been a part of it. Will she ever be happy? Only if the district does what was expected since 2019 and don't blame Corona. I have said before, and I will say it again, this committee hardly followed the vision of which it was created. Our committee was given campus committee models only a week ago, a structure that admin decided not active committee work or votes or your approval. Not one campus has had the opportunity to follow the whole new guidelines because they were only given this at the final meeting of a year after what their presentation shows is expected to be the final meeting. No oversight like proposed to you previously. It is frustrating to see our district committee that is being absolved. How interesting a meeting with only principals when the principals have been the least vocal voice of all the attendees. They have not openly questioned the process and they are just given information. You do realize that they are subordinates in this environment. Oh, but they speak out to me and how the structure and lack of guidance from the committee to the district is a waste of time, and honestly, sometimes I cannot disagree. This committee has not been a committee at all. It has been informational sessions with questions here and there, primarily by me. And of course, because Goose Creek doesn't sign my paycheck. I can also see the recommendation that I've made are not included in the district's expectations. There were notes taken on them, and of course, I was the only person that made any recommendations. You will see exactly the same presentation that we were presented. There are no measured goals, never an agenda, no minutes, and this is not a committee. It is truly informational sessions. I feel as if I am the only one that has been holding the district accountable. I asked specifically about next year and how interesting a principals only was not shared. I am also the only parent that has been there even after a directive was given to reach out to the parents. Ponder on this. How is it that we have a committee where over 200 people applied to be a part of it, and yet it is one of the most least active parent committees that we have? I have several theories, but only 3 minutes. I've supplied you with a few slides with markups, and I have crossed out all of the items that the committee can absolutely not take credit for. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Costick. We will now consider the approval of the minutes from the May 1st, 2023 regular board meeting.
I'll move to approve this. Second.
I have a motion from Ms. Guy and a second from Mrs. Blatt-Cannon to approve the May 1st, 2023 regular board meeting minutes. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. I see 5, 4, and 0 against. The motion carries. We will now move to the administration of the oath of office to our newly elected board members.
But ask at this time if Mr. Brandon Benoit will come forward along with our candidates.
President, it's my honor to be able to administer the oath of office this evening to 3 servants of our community. We'll go ladies first. Ms. Guy, if you would, step forward. We'll place your left hand on the Bible, raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Tiffany Guy, do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office of Goose Creek CISD Board of Trustees, Single Member District.
Of the office of Goose Creek CISD Board of Trustees, Single Member District.
Of the State of Texas.
Of the State of Texas.
And will to the best of my ability.
And will to the best of my ability.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
The Constitution and laws of the United States and of this state.
The Constitution and laws of the United States and of this state.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. Mr. James Campese, if you would. Place your left hand here on the Bible. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, James Campese,
I, James Campese,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will faithfully execute the duties
that I will faithfully execute the duties
of the office of Goose Creek CISD,
of Goose Creek CISD,
Single Member District 3
Single Member District 3
of the State of Texas,
of the State of Texas,
and will, to the best of my ability,
and will, to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution and laws of the United States
the Constitution and laws of the United States
and of this state, so help me God.
and of this state, so help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. Campese. Jesse Martinez. Here. Very well.
Mr. Benwell will have a follow-up candidate at the next meeting.
Yes, thank you. Turn it back over to the board rep.
Thank you, Mr. Benwell, for executing the oath of office to our board members.
I'd like to welcome Mr. Campisi. Looking forward to working with you.
Thank you so much.
We will now move to agenda item 9, superintendent's reports. Dr. O'Brien.
First up this evening, the superintendent's report, we have a budget workshop number 3. Bridget Clark, Dr. Bollinger, Mrs. Meyer, Ms. Dixon, maybe?
And anyone else who may call?
Bring all the
We
reinforcements.
may not be able to get this on our iPads, but we'll all be participants. We may or may not vote.
I don't think Ms. Clark wants to present that one.
No,
Here we go.
maybe next time. All right, good evening, President Clem, Dr. O'Brien, the Board of Trustees. We are having our third budget workshop this evening. And thank you all, DF3, for hosting us. Beautiful campus. We have a lot to cover, so we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. We're going to talk about this evening the legislative update. And board, there are lots of updates on that front. Compensation and health insurance, of course, the budget options and the budget models for compensation, and then the calendar. First of all, SIDI is next Monday, and we are all counting the minutes, but there's quite a bit going on right now, as you all know, in the legislature, and it changes minute to minute. So even as we present these or prepare these, a week in advance, these things change. I mean, they changed this morning. So we are keeping a close eye on the school finance bill, House Bill 100, which was completely transformed when it went to the Senate. And Mr. Creighton added a voucher provision to it. And, so that basically changed the nature of the bill. And then a lot of things that we were hoping that would get in the bill did not or got reduced, like the basic allotment got reduced to $50. So that would just equate to, just over $1 million if you just take that in isolation for the district, which is not what we were hoping for at all. It does still have to, there will be testimony tomorrow morning from 8:30 to 10:30 on that bill, and then it has to go back to conference committee, and then it'll go to back to the House and Senate. Probably the same individuals that were on the public education committees for both the Senate and the House will probably be on that conference committee, so you may want to start reaching out now if you can, if you have.
Do you know if that's invited testimony, or are they going to take online and sign up like all the other committees are doing? Or?
I'm not sure of the form exactly, yes.
I can figure it out, but if you knew off the top of your head.
Not at the moment, but I can certainly find that out for you. But definitely it's not going to leave a lot of time before the Senate reconvenes, and they're going to reconvene at 10:30. So 8:30 to 10:30 is the time frame that they're going to have this testimony, and then it's going to go back to the conference committee. So vouchers is a huge piece of this, and that $8,000 per child is back in play. And of course, our basic allotment right now stands at $61.60. So you know, there's just a lot of things that we were hoping would and would not be in the bill, and here we are. So please call your legislators and let them know how you feel about this bill. With that,
I'm
I'm
going
going
to
to turn.
interrupt you again.
Sure,
because
absolutely.
I'm old and I will forget. If you're sitting in this room, she's talking to you too. She's not just talking to the board to reach out to our representatives and senators. The more of you that will join us, the better chance we have of making our point.
Yes, we need all the help we can get. Thank you.
Okay, good evening. So the slides that I'm sharing is very similar, actually identical, to the presentation that I showed last time, but just in the context of the budget proposal and the compensation package. This is primarily a refresher. And so the slide here shows, compared to our market comparison of districts similar to us or districts in our area within Region 4, this slide shows this current school year what our compensation package looks like at 5-year increments for teachers, nurses, and librarians. And so, as was presented before, our rank, so to speak, was around 8 or 9 for our starting teachers, for our 5-year teachers. But as we get up into the years with the experience, the comment was made, trying to get my laser to work, that 10-year, 15-year, that we get to the median and actually fall a little bit below the median. And so we pointed that out. When we look at compensation packages, we proposed 3 options, which Ms. Clark is going to get to in detail. One was a stipend proposal. The second one was a 2% pay increase. And the third proposal was a 2% with adjustments for more veteran teachers. And so I want to just show that real quick. This slide here shows what the 2% pay increase would look like. It breaks it down for each category or area of staff member. What we have focused on is the teachers, nurses, and librarians. So at the top, a 2% increase across the board for that category would result in $2.37 million increase. So that's what the 2% raise would cost. If a 2% raise were applied to all staff in Goose Creek, that number is listed at the very bottom at $4.44 million. So that's the 2% increase. Okay. This slide here, again, as a reminder, shows what that 2% increase would look like compared to current salaries in our market comparison group. And so, now again, and we'll say this each time, this doesn't account for raises that other districts give, but you can see that green dotted line shows what that 2% raise would do as far as increasing the salary from that median. The median is the blue line. As a reminder, the orange line is our current salary structure for teacher, nurses, and librarians, and then that green line is the 2% increase. You can see even with the 2% increase for our 20-year teachers, it's right at the median. And then at the 15-year, that the separation is not as far as it is for our starting teachers or our 5-year teachers. So I believe it was at the first board workshop we were asked to bring back a proposal. Could we make adjustments for more veteran teachers? We've done that in the past for our 10-year veteran teachers, and so in working with CISD, this model here shows what a 2% pay increase would look like with adjustments starting at year 6 all the way down to year 25. You can see that, especially once we get year 13, 14, 15, that there's a significant adjustment to help catch those groups up, so to speak, with the pay increase. And so if the board were to approve this option here, then the increase in cost would be about $500,000. So that's a 2% pay increase plus an additional adjustment for years 6 through 20. The total cost here for teachers, nurses, and librarians, $2.8 million compared to 2.37, and then total increase would be $4.9 million. And so again, it's about $500,000 more to make that adjustment. And then just to show you what that looks like on the line graph, you can see that it's the same down below, because again, it's that 2% pay increase. But as we get to year 15 and year 20, you can see that separation is almost parallel with the median. Okay, so those were the compensation proposals that we brought before last time. Again, this is just a reminder. I think I'm now going to turn it over to Stephanie Myers to talk a little bit about benefits.
Good evening. All right, so the first two slides that I'm going to show actually just go over our estimated, sorry, a little short. So I'm just going to go over estimated costs for what we're looking at for next year. This is actually worst case scenario, and it's about a 10% increase for all four of our medical plans. The first two that are actually shown on the slide are the CISD high deductible plan and also the copay plan. And so we're looking at about a 10% increase. Right now, we are still, as shared before, we're still waiting on legislators to continue making their decisions and passing bills on what state funding will look like for next school year. We're hoping that they will be passing additional state funding that will actually help us on our rates. The next slide is going to be our Aetna plan, which is the Aetna HD and also the Aetna Signature plan. This is a plan that works alongside, and we had some discussion about this last board meeting, alongside with the TRS comparison plan. And I'll go into that in just a few minutes, but it still has about the same increase of about 10% for next school year. Like I said, worst case scenario, we're hoping state funding will kind of balance that out. So, as requested at the previous board session that we had, there were some questions that were asked about the TRS alternative plan and what that looks like. And so originally that plan for Aetna was designed to mirror TRS as an easy transition into the TRS plan. And the rates were initially created based off of TRS's rates due to the lack of claims data. So we had to be in the plan for at least one full year with TSHBP and the new Aetna plan in order to have that data for our claims so that we can be able to actually take our plan and our claims out to market to see what that would look like for the next school year. Our year will actually be completed this year in August. And so as soon as we have that data, that's what I'll be looking at for next school year. So on the next slide, we're going to talk about the plan moving forward for the 23-24 school year. We are looking at creating for this school year coming up a possible narrow network plan with Methodist Hospital to bridge the gap with our community partners and resources to make sure that our employees have affordable care for the local community. And then we'll possibly have lower rates and affordable plan design. We're also working with a consultant. I've already met with one. I will be meeting with a few others, looking for the 24-25 school year to see what that's going to look like with our claims data and possibly being able to move our district back to a self-insured or other type of option plan. Right now we're on a level funded plan. We're looking to see how we can apply the best our resources towards assisting our employees with their healthcare needs. And then possibly looking at changing our clinical services for the 24-25 year to go along with whatever that new plan may look like. Any questions?
I just want to thank you for including the number of employees on each plan, because that's very helpful information in our decision. But also just that little piece you added this time about we need a year's worth of data to even support what our rates are.
Yes, sir.
It's exactly what I think all of us are looking for to feel comfortable with how that's working out.
Yes, sir.
So thank you for that.
Thank you. Leave it down for me.
I have a slight correction on the way the email was written this morning from the Texas School Coalition. I believe they had heard the testimony this morning on the floor, but it's still going to go back to the House for a conference committee, or go back to the House and then go back to the conference committee, which is going to be comprised of the Senate Public Ed Committee and the Texas House Public Ed Committee. So those individuals that were on those two committees are probably going to be on the conference committee. So those are the individuals we should reach out to if we would like to, give our input on that bill. So with that, we're ready to hop into the budget adoption considerations. Of course, this is, as we've talked about many times, this is a planned budget deficit adoption. It doesn't come without caution, of course, but we did plan this. We do need to just be mindful that a $20 million deficit is equivalent to 400 positions based on a $50,000 salary, just to put it in perspective. One of the items, just backing back up here to the legislature for just a second, the formula transition grant was not included in the Senate version, and that would hurt us significantly ourselves, along with hundreds of other districts that are also in the formula transition grant extension period. Now, we had a Moken Casey webinar this afternoon, and Leo Lopez said that he was at TEA until Moken Casey picked him up this year, and he did mention that it might be extended 1 or 2 years max. So we're hopeful that that makes its way into the bill, so when you do call these representatives, please let them know that we would really appreciate them extending that formula transition grant, not only for ourselves, but for, hundreds of other school districts that will be in, financial difficulty should that not come to pass. All right, so this is a summary, and I just did from, last time's presentation to this time's presentation, what the differences are, and you see the further we get down to the end of the year, the more things become more refined, and we're constantly planning next year as we go, and new initiatives, and just making adjustments as we go. That's just the nature of the beast. And you can see from last time to this time, we have increased $2.5 million based on increased fuel costs. That inflation is not gone away yet. We're adding a safety monitoring system, a kinder pilot at Harper & Harper, regular behavioral technician and certification project, further payroll refinement, principal residency position costs, SEL clerk, campus campus aides, kinder pilot at Harper & Harper, the RBT and certification again, and then a brain coach as well at Harper. So that is where we stand at this point in time, and it's the, is my laser working here? Let's see. No, it doesn't show up. Okay. Well, if you look under the 522-23, you see the $16.2 million deficit, and that is, as you see in red there, next to that in the comment column. It doesn't include any compensation that we might consider as we move forward on this next slide. So remember that 16.2, because to make everything equal, and I know this is a very busy slide, there's a lot to unpack, but this is where we're going to spend our time today, so I'll be able to explain any questions you may have. But each model, 1 through 5, it all starts with that $16.2 million deficit, and that's before any compensation is considered, right? Now, if you see that green bar that goes all the way across all models, anything below that green bar but above the peach bar, it says increases that do not affect the budget deficit next year. So those are one-time type items that will not contribute to the budget deficit next year, unless next year we opt to make them permanent, which we could come in and say we're going to do these things again, or we're going to, make them permanent. So Model 1, and this is very similar to Model 1 that I presented last time, and it starts with a $16.2 million deficit, as all of the models do, and you see that first line right under that 16.2 in Model 1, which is in black, 16.2, that's about 324 positions at $50,000 each. So hypothetically, and this is just for illustrative purposes, just so you can understand, the mathematics here involved, it would require 324 positions to be reduced in order to balance the budget, right? And then, if you look below the green bar there, increases that do not add to the deficit, these are one-time stipends that we have in Model 1. The first 1.9 is for church teachers, nurses, librarians, and counselors, and that would be about $1,100 stipend per person in that category. And then we also added the other categories with the exception of central office, central admin, and that would be all your manual trades and paraprofessionals and so forth, and that's another $1,100 just to make everything even for this illustration. Because there are more employees in that category, it's a little bit more, but it's $1,100 a one-time stipend in that model as well, which would bring us down to a $3.98 million deficit, revenues under expenditures. And because we would be reducing that 16.2 before we adopt this budget, that's why you see only the $3.9 million revenues under expenditures, right? And so you see that 324 positions carry over at the end of Model 2 and the end of Model 3. That is because everything that's included in the compensation is above that peach bar there, because it's not going to contribute to the budget deficit for next year. It's not going to be a recurring expenditure. Like if you give a general pay increase, like what we'll get into in some of these models 4 and 5, those are the ones that continue to add to the deficit for next year. So with that, I'll move on to Model 2, which does have the same things that were included in Model 1, other than, of course, we're not going to recommend reducing 324 positions by June 30th of this year, because that would not really be feasible. But we just did it for illustrative purposes. And then we have the $1,100 stipend for everyone, but I did break it out into each category so you could see what the cost would be for teachers, nurses, librarians, and counselors, and then the other manual trades and paras, and then the central admin as well at $251,900. And that's everyone getting the $1,100 one-time stipend. And you see down there at the very bottom, it would still be the same 324 positions to be reduced for next year, because it would not add to the recurring deficit. Similar in Model 3, the same 3 items there, $1,100 one-time stipend for all categories, and then we also added the additional days for 10 and 11-month assignment eligible employees. So that's teachers, nurses, librarians, and counselors, and then some of the other 11-month assignments as well. So those are the ones that would fall into that category. And again, you see everything is above the peach line, and so it doesn't add to the recurring expenditures for next year. All those are one-time type items. Still the 324 reduction for next year. Models 4 and 5 are the ones that get into the permanent increases and the general pay increases that will increase the deficit moving forward. And you see here, we put on Model 4, we did the one-time stipend for the manual trades and paras, non-teachers, nurses, librarians, and counselors. And then we also left the one-time stipend for the central admin folks at $251,900. We left the 10 and 11 month 2 additional days as well in that one. But then you get down below the peach line, and that these items do add to the deficit next year. That's a 2% general pay increase for teachers, which would be at $2.3 million total cost, approximately. And then we also added to this one, which would also be a recurring expenditure and add to the deficit for next year, a shoring up of the 15-year and 20-year teacher service bands, for shoring those up, because we were slightly below market on those. And you see shoring that up in Model 4, we would shore it up 50% to get us on par with median market. And then in Model 5, we put the full 100% cost in at $532,000. And then Model 5, you bring all those items over, and then you also add the general pay increase for the manual trades and, everyone basically except for central administration. And we left their one-time stipend up there at the top, below the green line, with $251,900. So you see, and that, I kind of did the most conservative, obviously, with Model 1, and it got more, and less conservative, the further over you got to Model 5, because it adds more to the recurring expenditures, right? And so you see on Model 5, it would be 415 positions at $50,000 each, with a deficit of 21.7. So I kind of made everything, very similar, but, I'm, ready to take questions by the board as to how you would like to proceed, or what you would like to change, or, adjust, if you like the, 50% 15 and 20-year teacher shoring up, or, if you want the, one-time stipends for everyone. I mean, we can revise the models for next time, however you'd like to refine these. So, with that.
I'd like to request, if there's no objection from the board, that we're going to do questions, that I don't want to give you an answer to the compensation package until we discuss personnel in closed session.
Okay, absolutely.
So with that said, does anyone have any questions up to this point? I do, of course.
Okay, yes.
The $1,100 stipends under the models 1, 2, 3, et cetera.
Yes, sir.
Where did that number come from?
That was that was a number that I just used,
Sure.
and it could certainly be,
It's an illustration.
it is,
Okay.
yes. There
I
wasn't
just wanted to be
anything.
sure I didn't sleep through something.
Yes, sir.
And then let's talk about semantics and what they really mean for a minute, because I think I know, but I want to be sure.
Yes.
General pay increase, which most of us would call a raise, is a permanent debt to our budget, unless we come back as a board and take money away.
That is correct.
A one-time stipend is just that. It's not a permanent raise, it's not a permanent ding to the budget. It's something we can renew year to year or add to if we so choose.
Yes.
Or come back 6 or 12 months from now and make it permanent. So what I'm getting at, guys, and I think we all understand this, but I want everybody out there to as well, is if we do a raise, we're dinging this year's budget, next year, and the year after that, until we're brave enough to roll it back. But if we do a one-time stipend, we're still going to get the same money, but we're not putting that on the next board, if you will. The next year's board can decide to renew it, add to it, or do away with it. And with the way legislation is going right now, and the fact that we may lose $10 million more next school year, I'm a little leery to make it permanent at this point, but that's as far as I'll go with that. So did I get the semantics?
You're
correct?
exactly right, sir. Yes.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I'd like to add something if I could.
Sure.
Sorry, thought, anyway.
Is Mr. Anthony on? Can y'all hear him? Yeah, you're on.
It probably lowered my voice.
There you go.
Anyway, if we don't give the raises, then we're gonna be at the same, our longer serving teachers are gonna still be below market. And that was one of the things that we had discussed in our meeting, that we wanted to bring them up because they were the ones that served for the district, and we wanted to retain them. Am I correct in what I'm saying with not giving them the raises? Because he said, like he's saying that it's going to be a permanent thing once we do it. But they're going to keep those teachers that have been here the longest under market value and pay, whereas our newer teachers are above market.
So the stipend doesn't address that.
Right.
How that's addressed is
That's what
equity adjustment.
Yes, sir. You're exactly right. Equity adjustments is exactly how that would be addressed. Mhm. And so those would be permanent.
That's what I'm
Yes, sir.
In conjunction, but it's separate and apart from the actual.
Okay, but that is something that if we choose to, we can look at it for the next year.
It'll be permanent if, yes, sir. Yes,
It
ma'am.
could be permanent for, maybe not start this year, but you could say, if you're looking at a 3-year, the adjustments to be concurrent years.
We could do 50%, get us 50% of the way there, and that would be like the 266,000. But if we wanted to get all the way to the median where we're not, the 15 and 20-year teachers don't fall below the median at all, we match it, then that would be the 532,000. But that would be added permanently to their pay moving
The
forward.
question is, can we glide there?
Yeah.
Can we-
Okay, that's the.
Reverse glide.
Can we reverse glide?
Well, instead of doing it all at once, do half this year, half.
Oh yeah, that's what that's why we broke it down for you, so you can see getting us halfway there. We could do halfway there this year and then try to do halfway next year.
Yeah.
I mean, if we,
We choose to.
yeah, I mean, if we were just to have some miracle with the legislature where we actually got more money instead of less, that'd be great. But, yeah.
Well, Ms. Clark, I want to commend you on taking a very complex subject and presenting it to us this evening.
I got another question. So,
Yes, sir.
since they're wanting, I hear some kind of support for doing it half this year for our senior or 20-year teachers, maybe we could go half plus the stipend, which is not going to increase.
That's
Which
absolutely.
would be a lot more help. Because my whole deal is I want to bring them up to par or above market where they should have been. Because another year, like Helen was talking about, well, we don't have to do this, we can do it next year. But if it was her pay, you think she would say, we'll do it next year? No. See, and that's what I'm looking at. It's nothing's personal, I'm just saying. If it was my,
Yeah.
I could hear teachers going, well, why are you waiting? Why? We've been waiting and we're below market already for the last few years. Why are we going to wait another year? Especially when the cost of living adjustments have been increasing, really a lot. So I'm just saying, I just hope that we consider that these teachers that have been here that we want to retain, are looking at it that way, the same way. Look at it like it's your money. Because I really do believe that they're going to get mad. And I understand that we all want to get, our fair compensation. And it's not like we're giving them anything. In my opinion, these teachers have earned it. They put in their time to be at market or above market. And if we want to retain them, then we can do it. That's all I'm saying. So just food for thought.
Good thoughts. We are one of the top paying districts in the state, so we start there, but we always look, and the thing about this is the board passes this every year, the compensation package. So it's evaluated compared to other districts and compared to our previous efforts, and recommendations are made every year.
And I'm glad you brought that up because, with that market value that we're talking about, that if we get the 2% increase plus the adjustments, right? It's going to put us above the market value as it stands right now. But just like we're giving increases, so are all the other school districts going to give increases. So we're not going to be sitting above that market value anymore. We're probably going to be at the same position we are now. We're just trying to keep our heads above water with that market value. So yes, we do it every year, but so does everybody else. And do we have issues? Yes. But so do they. And, so just food for thought again. The more we talk, the more it makes me think that we're not going to glide anywhere. We need to make some, it's going to be tough decisions we got to make. We want to retain it.
Right, and I think that's one of the things Ms. Clark alluded to at the very beginning, was she would rather stand here every other year and present the budget to us when we're not in legislative session. So
Yes.
if we get past the 2-year budgets, maybe we can do that. But what makes her nervous this time of year, during the years, the odd number of years, as legislators are in session, Ms. Clark, would it be fair to say that one legislative branch oftentimes holds the other legislative branch hostage to get things they want passed in their version of the education finance bill?
If they're not all in agreement, you betcha. It's all about
And
politics.
that's basically where we're at right now today, is why we're probably going to go into special session, which makes you even more nervous because we're trying to predict the future at this point in time.
Right.
But we do have to pass a budget by June 30. They will close out, send die, June 30, and they will come into a closed session in July or August or September of their choosing. And then we will get a final verdict as to what the funding mechanism will look like, because right now it's been back and forth, different iterations in both chambers. So thank you for the presentation.
I got another comment. So when we first started this, okay, we were at 12, right? And now we're at 16.
Yes, sir.
So we've already had an increase. We
had $1 million just in property premiums just by itself. I mean, and then increasing fuel and, it just continues. It never goes down. It list always continues to go up. Yes. The further along you get,
Pointing out some things that I'm noticing and hearing as we're speaking. So, that stands like out.
yes, yes it does. Yeah, the further you get in the year, the more refined the numbers become, and then, you think you're gonna be able to maybe do X, Y, and Z, and you can't quite do it all, so, not in 1 year, so that's kind of where we landed, but.
Other questions for Ms. Clark? Thank you, Ms. Clark, appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll come back after session.
Yeah, don't go too far.
Next up will be Dr. Renick with the Anti-Bullying Committee update. I believe she has a few guests she'll be introducing.
Good evening. We're here to give our report this evening on our anti-bullying committee. And we do have a few guests with us this afternoon. We have some students that will be joining us. So our purpose and desired outcome over the last 2 years is to ensure that we provide a safe and secure learning environment for all of our students and staff so that our students can interact and thrive at school, in our community, and later on in the workplace. So taking a look back from 2021 to 2023, for some of you, you may have seen this information before, but we want to go ahead and introduce it to our new trustee tonight so we can all be on the same page. So we started out with some board presentations back in June of 2021 and December of 2021, and then last fall, October of 2022. During this time, we've had monthly district level committee meetings. And during that time, each month, our Student Services Director, Ms. Carrie Smith, she presents information on our discipline data. We do campus spotlights. We introduced our district level bullying checklist. We went through bullying scenarios, and we also received committee feedback. Last year, we launched our Student Voice in conjunction with our Student Advocacy Committee. And tonight, we're going to hear from some of those students who participated this year. Last year, we had surveys in grade levels 3rd through 12th grade and roundtables as well. This year, our roundtable students were specific to the students who are on the anti-bullying committees at their campuses. We utilize all of that data that we collect, and we present it to various groups, those that are listed above, district level and campus level. We introduced the TA's Campus Anti-Bullying Committee. As stated earlier, it was introduced in the 2021 legislative session. Last year, TEA shared with us that they would anticipate us getting the final rulings on July 1st of 2022. However, we just received that information from TEA on April 6th, 2023, just over a month ago. If you can recall, almost a year ago, in the state of Texas, we dealt with the Uvalde Elementary School shooting. So at that time, I'm pretty sure TEA backed away from the anti-bullying work and focused more on school safety, which is probably why we had the delay. Nonetheless, we continued on with our work here in Goose Creek. In the summer of 2022, we continued with our transition meetings and our camps. We transitioned all of our students to the next level, elementary to junior school to high school, and even our 11th graders going into their senior year. Every single year, we make sure that we have a warm handoff to the receiving campuses. This can curtail bullying. And we also introduce our How to Get Help. We reviewed the TEA's minimum standards, which the state calls it the minimum standards. We consulted with our attorneys. At that time, we were told to just go on with what we have. So we developed those anti-bullying committees at the campuses. So on the screen, you'll see what we were working with this school year. We ask that each campus committee develop their committee. It could be included with their IoT committee, or it could be included with any other committee that they had on campus. We ask that they please have a meeting at least at the beginning of each grading cycle, which would give them a total of 4 meetings per school year. Some campuses decided to have their meetings with their PBIS committee, which meant they met monthly. We ask that we have 1 parent representative per grade level, that's at the campus, and then also 2 student representatives per grade level. Here's the information that came from TEA. We received it back in April, and these are the the rulings that were filed. I'm going to go back again. On that committee, when they talk about this in TEA, they're asking that campuses establish a committee. At our district, we're going above and beyond because we're doing it at a district level so that the other committees can hear what's going on at each campus. You'll see the checklist that was created last school year. Our communications department developed this checklist. It was placed in the newspaper circulars that went out to all of our families so that we can talk about what is bullying, both face-to-face and cyberbullying. We instituted the Start with Hello training. And this training is something that we're rolling out in the fall of 2023. And the Start with Hello is ensuring that everyone at least has someone that they can go to on campus. We're wanting to be sure that we have inclusive environments. We're part of the strategic plan. So this information, although this was something special that we put into place, it's something that we want to be sure that we're always listening to our student voice and getting a gauge on what's going on our campuses. At this time, I'd like for you all to hear from our students. Ms. Kendall David will introduce them, and they're going to talk a little bit about the round tables and what it looked like.
Good evening. I am honored to introduce 2 incredible students. They serve on the anti-bullying committee. They're very, very involved. They have a podcast coming out soon with student roundtables and more information. But we wanted to take the opportunity to hear from students. We do a lot with student voice, and one of those things is student roundtables. And so they're just going to talk about that experience and some of the work that came out of the secondary section. So I'm going to turn it off to GCM student Callan Tittle, and we also have an EF reading student, Alyssa Thomas.
Hello, once again, my name is Callan Tittle. I'm a sophomore at GCM, and last month I was recognized as my fault. I was the Giant of the Month for last year, of course.
Hi, my name is Alyssa Thomas. I am a 7th grader here at EF Reading, and I am involved with at the athletic program and also the advocate.
So, for anyone who doesn't know what the round table is, the whole goal of it is to hear students' motives this year. It was to hear students' motives and why they come to school and what gets them excited truly to come and participate in school. And we were chosen, me and Alyssa were chosen with 3 other of our students, and we all went to a building and we collaborated throughout all schools of CISD, and we came up with 8 categories to truly break it down to why the students want to come to school.
Okay, so 4 of the categories were staff relationships, student relationships, clubs and organizations, and sports.
The other 4 that we came up with were field trips, school spirit, advanced learning opportunities, as well as extracurricular activities.
I'm going to give them a hand. They were very nervous.
Thank you.
Great job to our students. And of course, when we have just students in the room, they have a lot to talk about, and they surely did. We had our students divided up elementary on one side of the building, and then we had our secondary, which were our junior school and high school students. And they shared with us what makes them excited about coming to school and things that we can do to improve.
What about bullying?
So you're right, sir, because this is a climate and culture. And so when you have these types of things in place, it curtails bullying. And this is the whole purpose. So I was on the elementary side, and Kendall can But when we talked about bullying on the elementary side, the students talked about having somewhere to go to. They were grateful that they knew where to go to get help. They were grateful for the lessons that they were receiving in the classroom. They talked about wanting to have more of those lessons. They wanted to talk about how teachers needed to recognize and understand bullying. So those were all the topics that did come up. We were able to look at each campus had their own data, and they had to go back to their campus and talk about their specific needs. So, on my side of the work, I'm responsible for preventative and supportive measures. So, we want to curtail the bullying. And so, what we have in place for our students, we have to work with everyone in our district to ensure that we have these things in place. So, we updated the website links. We have Chit Chat where we discuss current trends, and in fact, you all have a bag that you should have received at your tables, because on Wednesday, we're doing Chit Chat on the go on the last day of school, and we're talking about stress and how stress impacts students. And again, that can manifest into many different things. We also, again, had the monthly campus spotlights, where campuses were able to talk about what was working great at their schools, and also some areas that they needed to improve on, because of course we're not perfect and we have lots of work to still do. We were in the spotlight nationally in October for our efforts with Unity Day. We also have done some transition meetings at our DAEP campus, which is Point, where we're talking to our students on Point, at Point, so that when they get out of their placements, they are ready to transition back to the comprehensive campuses. We had the Random Acts of Kindness Week back in February. Again, the Report Bullying Campus website links are now phone friendly for our students. And then we also have a whole bunch of Report Bullying stickers all over our campuses, even in areas where the students are not wanting to talk to someone, where that's our preference. We want them to talk to an adult, but sometimes kids are a little more reserved. So we have QR codes around all of our campuses. We have a scope and sequence for prevention lessons and interventions for both substantiated and unsubstantiated cases. We did the Start with Hello trainings, we had the transition camps, and we also are looking at our students from a trauma-informed lens, where we're looking for patterns of behavior, and we're talking about our students student by student. The warm handoffs are essential for our students leveling up. We have our Wellness on the Go, which is a small group setting for students to connect with counseling and student wellness network members. And of course, the We're Here to Help cards. And you have a mini card and then a postcard size in your bags as well. All right, so the first...
Tell us who you are.
I'm Carrie Smith, Director of Student Services. So the first data we're going to look at is our fall data from last fall, when we initiated the anti-bullying committee compared to this fall. And you can see that last fall we had about 34 incidents. This fall we've had 49. I would consider that actually a positive, due to the fact that if there's more incidences, that means that the kids are feeling more comfortable reporting their incidences. You can see in September the numbers were pretty close. October, a few more. This November was definitely higher. And then in December, they were pretty close as well. In our spring, comparing last spring to this spring, again, last spring we had 49 incidents. This spring, we had 59. Our January number increased. February stayed close to the same. March stayed close to the same. And April has stayed close to the same as well. And then this is a comprehensive look at this school year. And as you can see in the fall, again, we had 49. This spring, we had 59. And then I broke it down by feeder pattern. Our elementary has the most incidents reported at 77. Our junior high at 19. And our high schools have 12. And then I also broke it down to feeder pattern for you. So RSS right now is at the top at 41, with 29 at the elementaries, 10 at the 2 junior highs, and 2 at the high school. The one other, just so you know, is one of our selected high schools, so it didn't fall into an actual feeder pattern. REL is at 36, with 28 being at the elementary, 5 at the junior high, 3 at the high school, and then GCM had 30, with 20 of those being at the elementary, 4 at the junior high, and 6 at the high school. And so, conclusions. Again, when you define bullying, it is the repetitive, intentional hurting of one person or group by another person or group, where the relationship involves an imbalance of power. Bullying can be physical, verbal, or psychological. It can happen face-to-face or online, hence social media. Bullying can be a single significant act, or it can be a pattern of repetitive acts. And again, when we looked at our investigations, elementary led, and then our feeder patterns, I put those numbers in order. Since the implementation of the ABC, there is consistency with the numbers in reference to victims and subjects and the reporting of those incidents. And the training and understanding of the investigation process has allowed for better data to be collected and incidents of substantiated, which are those that can be verified, proven, or confirmed, versus our unsubstantiated, which cannot be verified, proven, or confirmed. And then what I did is I actually broke it down for you, and you can see in again, the fall of this year and the spring of this year, you can see the increase, and it matched up compared to last year.
Okay, so this is where we are now. As of today, each campus, they were asked to submit all of their documentation, of course, by midnight tonight. All of the Start with Hello certifications were due, and then, of course, we're presenting today to you all. In the fall and spring of next school year, we're going to roll out our year with our giant con presentations. We'll have our fall 2023 anti-bullying committee meetings. We'll have our Start with Hello rollout, and we'll have our anti-bullying lessons and refreshers, both in the fall and the spring. So this sheet right here is just a quick sheet, which at the top are the minimum standards that TEA rolled out last month, number 1 through 7. And then at the bottom are our district expectations for next school year. Our first thing that we're going to do, of course, is follow all the minimum standards as written by TEA. We would like to now have our monthly ABC meetings as a part of the actual PBIS committee meetings, which are held monthly at each campus. Each campus will be asked to have 2 student representatives per grade level in 3rd through 12th grade, and 1 parent representative per grade level for each campus, 3rd through 12th grade. And then teachers per the PBIS representation. We asked the campuses to come up with their 2 focus areas. So when you're asking about what about the bullying and what are the kids saying, well, each campus had to take a look at their own campus-specific data and work with their committee to come up with 2 focus areas. And so those committees are going to focus on whatever they chose to do. The real work is always at the campus level. And the conversations are, of course, they go a little bit deeper when they're working in-house. We're also going to continue to participate in the student culture and student survey with our student voice roundtables and surveys each year, as recommended by TEA. TEA has recommended that we have students at the secondary level, but in our district we would like to include our elementary age student voice as well. And there's that information listed a little bit.
So you use the same, or y'all use the same method for all the campuses? High school, junior high, and elementary? Because I used to be a teacher, and I know that junior high are really rambunctious at that age. And I noticed that elementary was a lot higher. There were a lot more incidents at elementary than there were at junior high. Actually, elementary was higher than junior high and high school put together. So, I'm kind of curious, but my initial question was, are y'all using the same practice with the high school, junior high, and elementary? Are y'all using the same approach in how y'all gathering your information?
The reports are run out of Review 360. So every time an assistant principal or an SSA launches a bullying investigation, they put it into the system. So the information you're receiving is from the reports that I'm running straight out of Review 360. And I will say that at the elementary level, the understanding of bullying is not fully comprehended yet. And so some of the times it's not, we don't have the students say that their child is bullying, that the parent will call. and say that their child is being bullied, and so therefore it initiates a bullying investigation. So,
And as far as campus participation, are they getting the same, are y'all using the same approach for each campus? Because my understanding is that not all campuses are participating. But what I'm hearing from what y'all are presenting is that they are participating.
based on the information from the meetings that we've had, yes, sir, they are. And everyone had 2 goals that they left last Monday night. And every campus, like Dr. Remick said, had went through their data and their own student survey data. And they came up with their own.
So y'all using surveys for all the campuses?
Yes.
This is mine.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm sorry. Yes. Yes, they used the student survey, the roundtables, and then the actual campus data.
So, I got a question. So you've got 2 avenues. You got an avenue of helping the kids who are getting bullied, and you have an avenue of individuals that are investigating the bullying. On the elementary level, you know, you may be a big kid and you bullying a little kid, but you just kind of throwing your weight around. But on all levels, are we investigating both parties to the fullest and documenting instead of just floating it away saying, oh, it's just kids, you know, they'll do this?
Oh, yeah, no, sir. They are all being investigated at both angles, and that's why you see the numbers you do with unsubstantiated versus substantiated. If it is substantiated, we actually initiate stay-away agreements. Therefore, parents are involved in that conversation. Parents have to come in.
Ms. Smith, you're doing a great job presenting it, but explain to the audience what is the difference between a substantiated claim and an unsubstantiated claim. I know it's defined by what you're saying, but talk about that, how that's determined in the investigation itself.
Okay, so whenever we are investigating bullying, when we actually do a bullying investigation, you have your students, and if it's, again, it reflects back to an imbalance of power. And it can be a single act, it can be a repetitive of acts, and it's up to the assistant principal to launch that investigation to determine if it was substantiated, meaning it's proven that the student did bully the student or students, or if it's unsubstantiated, that the student did not bully or bully the student or non-student.
So, my thing is, who's supposed to be the expert on doing the substantiated and unsubstantiated?
The campus administrators.
So, your position, you're going off of what the campus administrator is saying, well, I think they did bully this person, or are you in on the actual investigation with the campus?
No, sir, only if it warrants me to, but it is up to the campus to investigate that, but they have the documentation to support it. It could be bus video, it could be school video, it could be text messages, it could be social media posts. That is all part of the investigation, and that is actually part of their documents that they do submit and upload.
So all the artifacts are collected at the campus level, the decisions are made at the campus level. The only time it comes to you and or central office is an appeal.
When parents don't feel that their child is being bullied.
So, your department, you don't get involved into this actual, view that this person did bully this person, so you don't get in on the assistant principal when they're interviewing this particular person or investigating?
No, sir. No, sir. I'm not part of the actual interviews or, no, sir.
But that is part of their job duties and descriptions.
With the
campus administration.
Yeah,
That's their job to do.
Don't you think that we need to have them also involved in that so that you can have a better investigation from someone what I would consider a professional and the administrator, and both of them are looking at that particular incident so that you're information coming out of there, you know, you're gonna have the assistant principal saying one thing, and then saying, well, I think he bullied, and then your situation is now you're interviewing this person and talking to him or talking to her, and it's something different.
Well, I would just say that the job of an assistant principal is to make those determinations. And in fact, I would consider them the expert on discipline because that's their job all day, every day, is to manage discipline. So that is the person we're counting on to have expertise in making those determinations.
Right, but the investigative part of the bullying committee should be involved in that also. Instead of going one and two, then, okay, it is, and then it goes to three. You know, someone to
Are you talking about the level of appeals?
well, no, it's just like an appeal, basically. In other words, if we don't document everything we're supposed to document and have the right information, then it's swept out of the door. So what I'm saying is that if you have a situation where a kid is committed bullying, but the only person that has interviewed is the assistant principal. But
I get what he's saying.
you know,
There's a lot of unsubstantiated cases that y'all have shown, right? Well, he's saying the vice principal has made the decision that it was unsubstantiated. So when it comes to you for appeal, you're using the information that the vice principal gave. So
But let me clarify. Just because it's unsubstantiated does not mean that it didn't warrant something else. It could be considered harassment. It could be considered a verbal conflict. It could be considered, there's other things that can be considered under the discipline. So just because it's unsubstantiated does not mean that it wasn't dealt with or addressed from a different perspective, if that makes sense.
yeah, I guess. Go ahead.
So, unsubstantiated, can't get my tongue right. Yeah, but that word.
Unsubstantiated.
But now it goes to the next part where if it is or isn't, is there still a counseling part to that person?
Yes.
And
Yes.
what about to the person that supposedly was getting bullied?
Yes. Both parties are counseled with, yes. Whether it's substantiated or unsubstantiated, because even if it's not substantiated, obviously there was still a conflict. Obviously there was still a problem between these two students, or 3 students, or 4 students.
Yeah.
And I will say that, I understand where you're coming from with the unsubstantiated, but I can also tell you that social media, you might not be surprised at how much conflict arises from that, and then when you bring the parents involved, they had no idea that the child said this or this, and then this child came back.
Well, trust me, they come to us, and here's what I'm gonna say. Unsubstantiated, cases, the parents the parents of those kids, they come to us and say, hey, look, this kid was messing with my kid and messing with my kid and messing with my kid until my kid had enough and put a whooping on that kid. Now my kid is in trouble because my kid put a whooping on that kid. And I would ask you, how do you define or how do you distinguish if that, of course, okay, it's going to get dealt with, like you said, but how do you distinguish in a case like that if that kid was bullied or not? If you're just going to punish them because they had a fight, that's different.
But it has to have been reported. Because I can tell you, this year, I have not had one appeal for any bullying investigation from any parent. Not one appeal. Not one level 1.
That would make me question why. That would make me question why.
That's a question I had too. When we look at the high school numbers, they're incredibly low. So my question is, how confident are we that we're capturing these issues? Or are we still dealing with the issue that students are afraid to come forward?
I don't feel that it's students are afraid to come forward, because the ones that do, we have investigated, and they know that they can come up and speak at any point, just like the young man said that was part of the roundtable.
Right. And I am the new kid on the block today, but since, but I've been attending every meeting since the beginning of the year, and it seems like we're hearing from parents in this forum during public comment on bullying repeatedly. So that leads me to think perhaps we're not capturing, or they're not following that avenue that's given to them, and especially at the high school level, with those numbers being very low.
And again, they have to report it, just like what you were saying, Mr. Ray. If they don't report it, and then a fight breaks out, the question is going to be, had it been reported? And that's my first question. You know, if the assistant principal or the principal, you know, comes and says, and then my question is, okay, well, where was this documented? Where was it reported?
Well, see, that's what you're basing, that's what you do, that's your job. But what he's saying is that they're not going to come and report that. They're not going to come. When it finally hits the fan, it's already past that point. So they're not feeling comfortable with coming and saying, hey, look, this kid is picking on me. But they'll tell their parents, and then their parents come tell us. So when we see these numbers up here that it's all hunky-dory, you know, it don't kind of...
Oh, I'm not saying it's hunky-dory. I mean,
But no, I don't think. It's semantics. It's semantics. It's semantics. I'm just saying.
This is my last question. What can we do to make it better? In fact, to make it better than what it is now, for us making sure that we don't, and I'm not thinking that we don't have bullying, but what can we do to get more reporting of bullying, something in the schools? Because I don't want the Goose Creek to be on the news about somebody that was graduated, but he was bullied in the 5th grade, and now he's coming back, and because he wanted to take revenge out on people that didn't help him or her resolve this problem, you know.
I think it goes back to what we're doing, the continuing education of our students and the anti-bullying committee that we're implementing on the campuses. Because again, we have student advocacy that is part of that, their parents are part of that, and so it's going to be continuing to educate the students. Again, we're implementing the Start With Hello, which is, you know, another component to get kids to talk to one another. So I think it's just a matter of continuing to build. Again, this is only the 2nd year.
Yeah.
And you're still going to have students, regardless of how many QR codes we put up or stickers that we put up, you're still going to have students that choose not to say anything. And all we can do is continue to educate them and hope that they will come forward.
I got an incident, and this doesn't deal with bullying, but it deals with Goose Creek. I was at a meeting maybe 10, 11, 12 years ago, because I've been on the board almost 15. But this kid stood up, and he was a special need kid, and they was asking him what didn't he get while he was in school. He said learning how to read. And that just threw me back, knowing that he went through all school, high school, graduated, and never learned how to read. So I don't want to see a situation where some kid get bullied and we're not doing enough. And we probably are, you know, and I don't know. You know, y'all are the experts. You know, I'm just a guy standing up, sitting down here in front of y'all asking questions. But I don't want to be the one sitting here one night in the boardroom, somebody come in there and just attack everything. But kid said he couldn't read, but he's already been graduated. And that was embarrassing on the district. So I don't want no embarrassment from bullying. You know, that's just my, you know. If we're doing enough, fine. If we're not, then we need to do more.
Here's the question, I guess, keeping with that. What are the consequences once you determine that it's a substantiated bullying has occurred? What are the consequences? Do they go to SAC? Do they get suspended, both maybe?
It can vary depending on the severity of the bullying. We've suspended, they've gone to ISS, and we've had students go to point alternative as well. So it's all, any or all of the above, along with the stay-away agreements. And once those stay-away agreements are put into place, if those are broken, in other words, you have two students that are not supposed to have contact with each other, one of them violates it, it's an automatic point placement.
And I think Dr. Emmett said something earlier that, we're putting human beings together under one roof and we're trying to develop a culture. So anti-bullying is not a solution that you develop a system and it just all goes away. It's about the campus creating a culture in which bullying is not tolerated by the students, by the faculty, and by the administration. So it's a culture that's created that does sometimes take time. You made mention to our junior high students being more engaged with inappropriate behavior. That's probably accurate because they're at that age of adolescence of learning right from wrong and knowing the impacts of consequences and things of that nature. But the objective of this district-wide committee has been merely to establish fidelity across our district that all campuses would be striving to develop that culture in which bullying is not tolerated by anyone under the roof. I think that wraps up what you were trying to say, Ms. Lemonade.
And I know this isn't a popular answer when it comes to bullying prevention, but it goes along with creating the culture of the campus. I believe that if we have fidelity and we're consistent with our SEL curriculum, then I think that helps a lot of this because it's teaching kids how to treat each other. Absolutely. And how to get along with each other and how to be under the same roof with people that you may not love. And so, I think that our principals have to be on board and they have to champion that cause on their campuses. And if they don't, then it's not happening.
And that's one of the recommendations from this year. You live and you learn. One of the recommendations I think principals are sending designees, and I think for the upcoming year, it's been requested that principals attend the anti-bullying district committee meeting so that they will demonstrate their passion to have a bully-free campus.
And I did speak whenever I did say we have had one appeal for full investigation.
Thanks for that correction.
I corrected myself because I
There you
did.
go. All right. Any other questions? Thank you very much, ladies. Our next presentation will be for the superintendent's report on Parent Square. It's a community engagement platform that we'll hear from Ms. David, Ms. Kathy, Ms. Trujillo.
All right, good evening. Sorry. Okay, we're excited to bring the Parent Square presentation to you guys tonight. I have my incredible team with me. Where are they? Mia Trujillo, she does our website and is responsible for sending out a lot of our mass communications through our current platform. And Ms. Kristen Cathy, our director of communications, who of course writes many of those messages. So we're excited to bring this to you and kind of show you some demo work and why we feel like Parent Square will benefit our students. So the first thing is the why, and what are the big reasons why we believe Parent Square will be a benefit to our families? First is mass and two-way communication. So we currently have a system for mass communications. You've received many of those. I will tell you, we do not have a system for two-way communication when it comes to student to teacher, administrators to students and families in terms of going back and forth, much like a text message. We don't have that currently. Real-time translation in over 100 languages, modern tools that will allow us to cut costs in other areas and also cut time. So newsletter capabilities that are automatically translated, RSVP systems that Ms. Kathy and Mr. Muir will help me go into, as well as permission slips that are automated. All of those features are in this platform. Data and analytics that will help us make decisions on and provide support to our campuses, as well as student communication. So the ability to, in a safe model, contact and communicate with students, and of course, one unified platform that our district will utilize as a whole.
If I could, I'm gonna excuse myself, I have to go to work. I don't need to.
Thank you, Mr.
Sure.
Rodriguez.
I know y'all, some of y'all gonna be happy I'm leaving. I gotta go.
Mr. Rodriguez, this presentation was for you.
I know that.
So I'm devastated.
But this is kind of easier to take up.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sorry, I got all this stuff going on.
So Parentsburg is aligned to our strategic plan. Our two goals that our department manages are really strengthen effective communications with our families and increase community relationships.
So we're excited to offer some great features to our families and personnel. And right now, we're going to be able to send mass notifications like we do right now with School Messenger, as well as campus notifications. And right now, we only send one-way communications with School Messenger, but with Parent Square, we're going to be able to provide an opportunity of ongoing two-way communication with staff for our families. And district and campus personnel will also have the opportunity to build newsletters, and that'll provide another opportunity to keep reaching our parents with our district news and campus news. And then also campuses will be able to send out notifications like they do right now, but they're also going to be able to offer our students a secure way, two-way communication with staff. For example, if students have a question on an assignment, they'll be able to communicate with their teacher, or if a coach needs to tell their team that a practice is canceled, they're going to be able to do this because they're going to be able they're also going to be able to communicate with extracurricular groups. So we as a district, we're going to decide what age and what grade we can turn these features on, and we're going to be we're always in control of that piece of the features. And another thing that I'm really excited about that could have helped me and my family a long, long time ago is real-time two-way communication that's available over 100 languages. This is parents will be able to communicate with a teacher in real time. For example, if a Spanish-speaking parent or any parent that speaks any other language, they will not have to wait for a translator to ask a question. They can email them or communicate with them, and then the teacher will be able to communicate back. And the teacher won't have to wait for a translator also. And then, so this new system, whenever we go over to this new system, the parents are also going to be set up in their correspondence language as indicated in their teen program, and then they can change language if they want also. So we can go to a demo for language.
To use the real-time translation, I'm going to go over here and show you how a teacher would communicate directly, or a principal would communicate directly with someone in the community to be able to use the real-time translation. So because we are synced up with the CISD, we know the translation or the preferred languages to every single user right from the get-go. So the first message they're going to get from Goose announcing Parent Square is going to be in their native language. The folks love this. To be able to use it is super simple. New message, the system is smart. Again, for this example, Principal Schwab likes to send a positive note out to the parent when he has time during the day. So for this example, he wants to send a note to Diego's dad, Miguel. Obviously, he's not going to remember every parent's name, but he is going to remember the student. So if I start typing in Diego, the system is smart. It's going to pull up anybody associated. And I'm going to say, Dear Mr. Schwab, Diego is doing fantastic in math. Thank you for your support. Principal Schwab. All right. So we're going to send this, and hopefully the demo gods are going to play nice. And when I go to the home screen here, just like any other app on your phone, you're going to get a red notification bubble. When I click on that, it's going to pull up this note from Principal Schwab that is already translate it for me. I can also click on the note to expand it and see the originally intended message. Just
Okay, good evening. So tonight we'll be talking about modern tools and data dashboard. So a big part of what I'll be discussing today, I'll probably take it from personal experience because like Kendall, we're parents to kindergarten as well. My baby's going to first grade officially. So if you follow me, you know I talk about the nugget all the time. So a lot of this will probably kind of line with that. So some of the modern tools with parents that we are really excited about is the communication choice. So currently what we have, our parents must opt in to receive information or notifications from School Messenger. And they only can get phone, email, and text message. That's it. But with parents where we have a mobile app, which again, they don't have to opt in for, but they do have the opportunity to do that. And again, as Kendall and Mima just stated, it's two-way communication that they'll be able to have versus with School Messenger, we currently don't have that opportunity. What we're also excited about as well as the newsletter templates. Currently, some of our campuses are using SMORE, which we offer through the school district. But with this newsletter, there's templates embedded into the program. So this will actually take away some time that our teachers sometimes have to use to figure out what template do I want to use. It's already there. They can also embed photos and videos as well, which is really, really awesome for our teachers. And it's really simple and very easy to use and gives good ROI or return on investment. We also have the ability to survey, get feedback, RSVPs, and signups. So for instance, when my son had a field trip to go to Old McDonald's farm, you have to think about if you have 1,000-something kindergartners, that's copious amounts of paper that we use to print, of course, a parent slip. Then there's another slip that's for volunteers, and there's another slip asking for money, then there's another slip, and so on and so forth. So if we're talking about making best use of district funds, as Bridget said, that would also go into making sure that we're reducing how much that we're printing, if I'm correct, Bridget, right? And in my position was dealing with the print shop, we want to make sure that we're making best use of the public funds. And one way to do that is to make sure that all of those forms are right there in Parent Square and everything is digital. So if I wanted to pay for my son's lunch, I can do it right through there. If I wanted to sign up for me and my husband to be a parent volunteer, you can do it right there. And the teacher can then receive it in real time instead of counting on their student to bring home a piece of paper. And again, it's your communication at your fingertips at any time. In our position, Mima and I will often have to send out emergency messages. So for instance, when Alamo was on lockdown today, that will require me to have to physically go to a computer at Alamo and to log in and do what I need to do. Or if I'm out and about, I always have to have my laptop or my computer with me and I have to pull over to the side of the road to fill it in. Or Mima will have to do it. If we're out, then Mima will have to do it. Versus with parents where there's actually, we can do this in a mobile app anywhere. It does not require us to have some type of big communicable device. I can do it wherever I need to do it, which is a plus for us. And then also lastly, for the data dashboard, we have delivery read rates, which again, currently we don't have that. So right now we can only see when we send a message, and I can only see what I have done. If I send a message out, I will again get a response and it'll tell me if I send a message out for GCM, how many went through, how many didn't go through, and then that's about it. With Parent Square, there's a little bit more. We can see what every campus, whoever's logging into Parent Square to send a message, will be able to go in, see exactly what they sent, not only just delivery rates, but actually to see if that person on the receiving end read that message. If a parent calls, and we get those every now and again to say, hey, I didn't get this such and such message. Okay, tell me your name. We'll be able to go in a list, find the name, make sure the information is correct, and if it isn't, we can make sure we can go in and correct it. So that again, make sure that we're doing our part to make sure that our parents are receiving all of the information that we need to as part of our department's goal. And then lastly is part of message engagement, just making sure that we're letting our stakeholders in our community know that they can reach us at any time and they're staying on top of the message. And so next, Kendall's going to show you another demo exactly how the data dashboard works.
How we create these beautiful multimedia-rich posts. In this example, I made a post to the entire Goose Creek Middle School, which is my made-up school, and inviting folks to the zoo. As you can see in our posts, they are very, very rich. We can embed videos. We can play directly from things that our modern parents want to engage with the school district. Now, something that's really cool about our posts is we're able to embed forms or permission slips, etc. So in this example, I embedded a field trip consent form. And because Principal Schwab does have a son in the school district, I can actually respond and say, yes, I give permission. The system is smart. It's going to pull in student IDs. It's going to create real-time, on-the-fly spreadsheets and be able to track this for you. Okay? The other neat thing we can do is we can build in dynamic asks of our communities. In this case, we're letting the folks know if they want to pay for an optional sack lunch, they certainly can. They can do it right within Parent Square. I can pay right now within Parent Square, and this is part of the offering. I can also build wish lists. So for example, if I want to ask for some water bottles and coolers for my field trip, or sand sanitizer, I can put that in there. As far as a parent being able to volunteer and bring some of this stuff, it's as simple as getting signed up. Yes, I have a case of water off the garage, I would love to donate. Boom, I just donated a case of water to the school. I can sign up and ask for volunteers. So for my field trip, I need a photographer. Well, I can sign up to be a photographer in 2 clicks. I just volunteered Principal Schwab to be a photographer. I can RSVP, etc. These are how we make our beautiful dynamic posts. On the right side, you can see on Miguel's cell phone, you can see it's already translated. I'm going to expand on this post to show you something really, really neat. To Parent Square, because when I click on forms as a parent and I see that there's a permission slip here, the first thing I'm going to notice as a parent is number one, it's translated in my native language. For a lot of folks, especially folks that don't speak Spanish, they might speak Punjabi or Korean or Mandarin, etc. This is literally the first time that they've ever had something translated real time in their native language. So when you think about parents wanting to be seen and heard, this is one way you can really show them that you can see them, that you can hear them, and that you're going to communicate with them in their native language. Okay? So that's the parent experience. Now, how do we make these? It is super, super simple, and we give you a couple different ways to go about it. Number one, if you know how to write an email, you're already Parent Squaring. So the email editor is pretty simple. If you know how to start an email, again, you can start typing posts. Everything's going to be populated for you. Again, the system is smart. So if I want to send something out to the high school, it's as simple as clicking on it. If I want to use templates to make these, I can use design blocks. So it's as simple as clicking what type of blocks I want to have. I can build this out manually. Maybe I want to do an image with a couple columns. And then it's as simple as using our editing tools to do that. If you want something that's even built out more, you can use predefined templates. In this example, I do have a couple custom templates loaded up here, like Lincoln News, for example. So you can have something like this to keep it consistent across the Goose Creek sites, and have beautiful templates that are branded to match Goose Creek's brand, etc. You can see how simple that is. Okay? As for being able to use the real-time translation.
Okay, so if you've ever translated multiple permission slips and volunteer forms, you know how much time that takes. And so I hope that we were able to kind of show you a glimpse of what Parent Square could look like for our families. So just in conclusion, I think one of the most important things I want to point out is just the ability to have a uniform platform. Currently, our parents and students, they receive communication from a lot of different ways. School Messenger, Remind 101, Class Dojo, Seesaw, GroupMe, the list goes on. We personally manage tons of communications through social media because our parents and our students and our families are really looking for ways to communicate and ask questions. And so we feel like having a unified platform that we all stand behind and adopt is important for our district. And then in addition to that, just the benefits when it comes to family engagement, to invite different families to come into our building, have them RSVP, have them be involved, send out surveys, all within the same mode of communication. And it's also safe, and I think that's important to note that currently, we have a lot of different communication methods going, and sometimes that translates over to students. And so we have to give our teachers and our staff a safe way to communicate important information to students and families. Again, we have, if this platform is approved, our priority going into the school year will be training and rollout. So making sure that our students and our principals are fully prepared to roll out Parent Square on their campuses and use all the tools and provide the support. Our team will take responsibility for that initiative. And then also, I know that we're always concerned about data privacy, cybersecurity, and so Matt Flood has worked very closely with our team to ensure that this platform received an A score from our third-party risk management. So at this time, we'll take any questions that you may have.
it's live feedback. You've mentioned that several times tonight. So like when I get almost 200,000 miles on my truck, I'll start cruising websites looking at new trucks, and Alexa will pop up and say, "Can I help you tonight?" It's a chat box. Is that what you're talking about when you say live, immediate feedback? Or whoever sees the question on the team is the one who researches and answers the question? What?
So are you speaking from our team or as a campus? Our team? So, for example, currently, if we send out a controversial message through social media, we'll have about 20 messages in our inbox. And our team's great at constantly looking at feedback with parents where we would see those questions immediately. And I know, we would come to you and say, hey, we have a lot of parents asking this question. Do we need to do something differently? But yes, we would be able to respond to those questions within Parent Square live.
Also, kind of to answer that question, it's kind of like text. Like they can message you back if it's the campus sending out a message or whatever. I actually learned some stuff. We do use this, but I learned some stuff tonight. Like I didn't know you could do the newsletters and permission forms and stuff because we were not trained on it. So I know that would be much appreciated for the faculty to be trained on it. Also, one problem that we have is that our students won't download it or won't opt in because we don't collect student phone numbers or anything like that to have the messages automatically sent to them like we do, like they're sent to the parents,
Absolutely.
So that's just an issue that we run into. So just so y'all can start thinking about that.
So our plan would be for that, just to address that, as our students are one-to-one, and so we would have the ability to push that model through.
So ours are two.
Yeah.
But they don't check email either. So that's the only I guess, communication. Form of communication we have with them is they all have, emails through the district.
Yeah.
We don't have all of their phone numbers and different things like
Absolutely.
that.
So our primary focus for students would be for them to download the Parent Square app onto their iPad.
So we had time in class for students. We walked them through it in class, and they still
struggle with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we know that the student aspect will definitely, yeah. And I'll tell you too, that will be our priority for this year. Our goal as a team will really be to train and make sure, because that's the biggest part, is to get people on board. You have to be able to train and provide the support. And I will say, our team does that for a lot of different groups. Campus webmasters, social media coordinators, and so we feel confident that we'll be able to prepare them to the best of our ability to utilize the product.
I have a quick question. We have all the firewalls when we use in Goose Creek's thing, but will this be a lot easier for parents where it's not kicked out as much and we still would have some things in place technology-wise, but it'd be a lot easier that you can get an email sent out and it won't kick back? Is this that will work like that to be able to be user-friendly in that way?
Yes, definitely. And I would say the primary thing that's very different is that we would motivate all of our parents to utilize the app. And so that's where you're going to get the biggest bang for your buck, because it does send push notifications, but it also allows you to download a lot of those flyers and be interactive to search within. So let's say if I get a message about our Valentine's Day party in January and now it's February 12th and I'm wondering if I'm supposed to show up to my kid's school, I can search in the search bar Valentine's Day party and look at that post. Does that make sense? And so that would be our motivation for families, is to push the app. Now, that's not to say that if our family doesn't download the app, that they won't receive email and text message just as they do currently with School Messenger. Of course, they'll still receive that, but our biggest focus would be to get them to see the value in interacting with the app. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, I believe our final superintendent report before we get on with our action items would be an update on something that starts tomorrow night, graduation. Ms. Kim Fox, do you have a team or is it you? Ms. Garcia, come on down.
All
Are y'all ready? So I hope you're excited, everybody in the audience. Congratulations. Graduation is this week. So we are taking it back to Stallworth. I'm happy to present this to you tonight. Let me make sure my clicker starts.
Yes.
Hold on. There we go. So if you are not aware, we have graduation tomorrow night. We start with Stewart, and we go to Impact, Robert E. Lee, Ross S. Sterling, and then in our long week on Saturday with GCM. So a couple of things I want to share with you to start off with. Our amazing graphics. So throughout the presentation, you'll hear me say a couple of times about the team that has put graduation together for 2023. There's so many interlinking parts that make I'm going to say a performance, a production like graduation come together. Some of the folks are still in the room here, and I want to embarrass them, make them just for a second. Mr. Marquez, Mr. Flood, Dr. Price. I'm looking around for some of my other buddies that are part of this. We have Holly Ferris, Kristen Cathy, Nima, and community engagement with Kendall David. We have lots of people in the room. I could probably name some more. Just want to say super shout out for the work that has come together to make this be ready for everyone this week. So let me get this other way. So one thing I want to start off with is we have our digital programs. And so our families will be greeted with this QR code so they're able to follow along on their phones so they can get the information immediate. We also have programs that will be going on with our students. But while we're talking about the digital format, Ms. David, will you click on that link, please? Sure. She's going to help drive for me because I can't drive the computer and talk up here at the front. So one of the things we'd like to show you.
Before and after?
Something like that. So one thing we'd like to show you is our amazing website. So our community engagement team has gotten together and we've really worked as a big group to make sure that this was successful. I'm so proud of it, so I have to make sure you guys see it while we're live tonight. So as you go to the website, we have lots of information for our families. So it's a one-stop shop. So you see our picture-perfect graduate, very clear on what's appropriate to wear. We have our Stallworth information, right? As a parent, you're unsure of what you need to do or not do. Our prohibited items are also there on the right. You know, can I bring an air horn? Can I bring fireworks? That's for you, Dr. Price. Things like that, what is able to come to the event and not. On the left-hand side, thanks for driving for me, Ms. David, is we have our drop-off information. If you have not prepared in advance to our VIP members, we want to make sure you are well informed that you need to plan ahead for traffic and make sure that you are planning your time accordingly. We've been sharing that with our campuses for some time. If you'll also, Ms. David, can you open up Stage Clip? That was also some information presented at a recent board meeting. So we have Stage Clip that will be supporting graduation. So our families will have access to the product that they put together with the little snippets of their kiddos graduating. So we love this page, one-stop shop. Also, we have information, Ms. Garcia will share it in just a minute, regarding the rain-out plan. No rain for the rest of the week. We've already declared it, so I think we'll be good, but she'll share that in a second. Ms. David, will you go up to the top for the newsletter, please? Also want to share this. So Ms. Garcia, Ms. Noemi has this for you. Thank you so much. She's passed it out. So we'd like to share that with you. It gives all of the information specific to Stallworth, where to sit, how to exit, again, the dress code, the rain-out plan. Everything is printable, should our families be interested in the printed version, as well as the QR code for our digital program. So we're really proud of this work. We think it's very visually appealing. We hope that it helps our families, and our community engagement department's done a tremendous job, and we're so proud of it. Thanks for driving, Kendall. All right, so she's going to make it back in present mode. So Stallworth Stadium has had some very big upgrades. Brenda, her team, Dr. McCall, lots of people have been involved. Remember, I said there's a lot of chains put together a lot of puzzle pieces to make this work. And so the projects have been beautified. There's fresh grass, and we are excited for everyone to see what Stallworth looks like tomorrow. Something else I'd like to share with you, Mr. Marquez is here, Chief, and Mr. Marquez and our team have worked very closely to ensure that we have safety accounted for in every element of graduation. So I'd like to give you this graphic to let you know we do talk about the traffic that will be leading up to Stallworth Stadium, but we are going to try to mitigate all of that as much as possible. So we will have our GCPD officers, we're going to say, allowing you to go through the stop sign. They'll be controlling traffic, so we want to make sure you know that. We also have hot zones for our security and police officers. So I'd like to share this graphic with you. We will be supporting at Gentry Junior School where our students will be staged, as well as many points in the stadium. And so these are the official pieces for police and security, but again, we want to make sure you're aware that our team has gotten together and covered many areas that we find to be hot zones. Next, this was the rendering that we received from the company for our stage. So they show on the right and the left, those are screens that will help broadcast our graduates as they go across. Our families, we want the best for our kiddos, and our families have come accustomed to being able to see that digitally, as well as, I guess with their phones and looking at them walking across. So we're really proud of that, and I'd like to show this. This was my cell phone a little bit earlier today. The stage is there. It was not complete when I did this early this morning, but they've since completed a lot of the updates, but the stage is at Stallworth, so we're really excited. It's coming together. The next thing I'd like to let you know is this is going to be your view for our school board and executive team up on the stage. Honest, this was my cell phone, so I know it's not the best quality. And our students will walk across the platform, and of course all of the seats will be out there where the GC is on the turf. I'd like to share this with you. This is our draft of the way the students will be seated on the field. I gave you an example of a comprehensive school draft, but this is Ross's Sterling. And then on the other side is Impact, which is one of our early colleges, and so they have a little bit different design because of the number of students that they have graduating. Next is just some information for you as the board. Ms. Brandy Onkin sent information to you, so you should have already received it to kind of let you know where your piece will be and where we will house you prior to the stage. We also have members from Executive Council, as well as our community that will be participating, and so they will follow that same schedule. And I'll turn it over to Ms. Garcia for the rainout plan.
No rain out.
No rain.
Fingers crossed, no rain out. Good evening. In the event we do have rain, the notification will go out at 2 o'clock, so we will get with Ms. Garcia so she can communicate with y'all for that piece. But again, hopefully no rain. Okay, so in the event of rainout, Stewart Career Impact and Lee will be hosted at Lee High School Auditorium. Sterling will be held at Winnie Brown Gym and GCM in their competition gym on the same days of what the actual graduation should have been held. Again, with the great work of our police officers, we have our plan for parking and traffic control. If you can see the tents, those will be tents that the parents can stand under, because we'll have shuttles commuting to Lee High School to help for the rain. Students will be dropped off at 5 o'clock, and parents will be parking on the water side of Lee and entering on that end since it's a covered foyer. Your parking will be designated in front of and on the side of the auditorium. For our families who do have more than 2 people come, we will have designated streaming in the cafeteria at Lee High School, because each student will receive 2 tickets for their family to attend graduation. So this is a cleaner map for y'all. For the board, the designated arrival time will be 5 o'clock. There will be board orientation from 5:15 to 5:45. Dinner will be from 5:45 to 6:30, and then you will report to the auditorium that evening at 7. This is GCM's plan. It'll have the same components, the traffic flow, the police to ensure that we have our parking. Your parking for VIP will be in the front parking lot of the school, and the hospitality room for that will be in the library. Again, we'll have designated streaming for parents and/or extra family members in the auditorium, and their graduation will be in the competition gym. The same goes for the time frame except for reporting to the auxiliary gym for this graduation. And then for Sterling, we'll be hosted in the Winnie Brown Gym. We'll have designated streaming in the auditorium. We'll have parking on both sides for parents. And your parking will be in the front part of the parking lot for Sterling, with our traffic flow as well. We'll have tents out in front of Winnie Brown Gym for ticket taking for parents. And the hospitality for Sterling will be in the library, and then you'll report to the Winnie Brown Gym about 7 o'clock. Because it's going to be reduced space, there will be, the board will be held on the left side of the podium. That's where your seating will be. Do y'all have any questions?
I don't believe we received our email with our instructions.
Ms. Noemi, that would be that manila packet. Paper clipped with parking hangers on top.
So if I didn't get one, I don't have to go.
Mr. Clem, you're a VIP, sir.
Just for clarification, I don't think I heard it, but the rain-out plan includes how many tickets per family?
Just two.
Okay.
Two, and that is due to capacity of the facilities.
All right, thank y'all very much. Appreciate the presentation.
Lots and lots of work. Very nice.
Thank you, sir.
If you haven't driven past Stallworth lately, it's worth it. It looks really, really nice. A lot of hard work put in by the facilities team, by the operations team. We certainly do appreciate everyone. And if you don't know, our police force will be in full force throughout the graduation, and our security team as well. We just want to thank them for all the hard work in the planning and execution, yet to be for starting tomorrow night.
You will now move to action items. Item 10A, consideration of the consent agenda. Dr. O'Brien.
Yes, administration brings before the board this evening action item 10A1, donation from Teal Systems. 2, Parent Square. 3, 90-day extension of CSP for janitorial and maintenance services at Goose Creek CISD Administration Building. And 4, order declaring results of the May 6, 2023 Board of Trustees election. Administration would recommend approval of the consent agendas items.
Any questions or individual items to be pulled? I do have a question myself. The 90-day extension, is that because we're waiting on something? The janitorial service 90-day extension, that's kind of, why are we doing it just for 3 months?
Yes, sir. We wanted to extend just for 3 more months to give ourselves more time, given the costs that have come back in bids.
Okay, and that's all I need.
Yes,
Quality
sir.
of the bids.
I knew there was a reason, I just couldn't find it by myself.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Anyone else? Then I would seek a motion.
I make a motion to approve 10A1, 10A2, 10A3, and 10A4.
I have a motion from Mr. Rod Timms and a second from Mrs. Guy to approve the consent agenda as presented. Any further discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Anybody opposed or abstain? 4, and 1 abstention. The motion passes. And now, Mr. Flood, my iPad will not stay on more than 2.5 seconds. I think I got it. Okay, I got it. Ms. Garcia, we just have to read, is it the total hours or each tier? Total. Okay, so this is something the board's action item 10B is consideration of report on continuing education credit. We're required annually to read training hours into the record, so I will do that quickly right now. For 2022-2023 board training, Richard Clem has 35.75 hours. Shay Cotter, 0. Howard Sampson, 27.0. Tiffany Guy, 19. Jessica Woods, 11. Helen Barat Thames, 10. And Mercedes Renteria, 14. And now, are there any future board agenda items, trainings, or meetings that we need to mention at this time? Okay, hearing none. I guess everybody's squared away on SLI in June?
SLI in mid-June, yeah.
Okay, cool. All right.
No.
Okay, cool. All right. All right. Then let me find my script. The board. I want to do the next meeting in my regular place. We're out to find my stuff. All right. The board will now recess into a closed session pursuant to the following sections of the Texas Open Meeting Act. Texas Government Code Sections 551.071, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 082, 83, 84, and or 87. No action will be taken while the board is in closed meeting, and the time is 9:41.
Mr. King, can you see this guy?
The board will now reconvene in open session. No decisions were made while the board was in closed session, and the time is way past my bedtime, 11:03. We are going to quickly revisit the board budget workshop number 3, and I'm going to ask Ms. Guy to make our recommendation as far as compensation package.
We're going to recommend a 2% one-time salary adjustment for everyone, and then the equity adjustment for veteran teachers as presented earlier.
Any questions on that? Okay.
I think I got it.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, now we'll return to the agenda, item F, consideration of personnel. Dr. O'Brien.
Yes, this evening we bring before you discussion of personnel. D1, approve elections and accept resignations and retirements as presented.
I'll move to approve elections and accept resignations and retirement as presented. Second.
I have a motion from Mrs. Guy and a second from Mrs. Brockton to approve elections, resignations, and retirements as presented. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. See 5, 4, 0 against, motion passes.
All right, we do have some administrative personnel we bring before you this evening. Kristen Goins and Angela Goss as diagnosticians.
Move to approve.
I'll second.
I have a motion from Ms. Brockton 5 petitions as presented. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Seeing 5 for, 0 against, motion passes.
For speech language pathologist, we bring to you Michelle Hernandez.
Move to approve.
Second.
I have a motion from Ms. Brock-Tams and a second from Mr. Campisi to approve the SLP as presented. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. 5 for, 0 against, motion passes.
We have student wellness interventionist, Andrini Martinez.
I'll move to approve the student wellness interventionist.
Second.
I have a motion from Mrs. Guy and a second from Ms. Brock-Tams to approve the student wellness interventionist. Discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Seeing 5 for, 0 against, motion passes.
We have human resources coordinator, Heather Alarcon.
Move to approve the human resource coordinator.
Second.
I have a motion from Ms. Brock-Tams and a second from Mrs. Guy to approve the human resources coordinator. Discussion? All in favor? 5 to 0, motion passes.
We have 2 counselors, one at Alamo Elementary, Lisa Bell, and one at Asheville Smith Elementary, Lorinda Picardo.
I'll move to approve the elementary counselor.
Second.
I have a motion from Mrs. Guy and a second from Mrs. Brock-Tams to approve the 2 elementary counselors. Discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. 5-0, motion passes.
We have 2 principals, both elementary, one at Lamar Elementary, Mark Garena, one at Banuelos Elementary, Erica Box.
I'll move to approve the elementary principal.
Second.
I have a motion from Mrs. Guy and a second from Ms. Brock-Tams to approve the 2 elementary principals. Discussion? All in favor? Okay. Against? Abstain? Yes, sir. 4 for, 0 against, 1 abstention. Motion passes.
Principal at Gentry Junior High, Jonathan Kurtzy.
Move to approve the principal at Gentry.
I'll second.
I have a motion from Mr. Campisi and a second from Mrs. Guy to approve the junior school principal for Gentry as presented. Discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand.